Hi, I'm Nora McPhail. I'm a watercolor artist, and I'm going to draw and paint this Yorkshire Terrier. I got this photo from the reference library at wetcanvas.com. It's a wonderful website that has lots of photos you can work from. And I've got a mat on top of the paper there. The opening is 5x7 so that the end painting will fit into an 8x10 frame. And I have blocked him in very lightly. You can just barely see those lines. And I'm starting with his eyes and his nose, just sort of to get the center of his face. This is a mechanical pencil, an 07 pencil, and I like them because you don't have to sharpen them. They don't get dull. If they do, you can just sort of snap off the end and continue drawing. So it's nice to not have to stop and worry about sharpening your pencil. And I do these wiggly lines that I like drawing this way. I like sort of revealing the thought process of my drawing in my drawing. So this is in real time, and just sort of finding my way and letting the sort of scribbles happen. Keep coming back to the center of the face, come back to the center of the drawing and sort of find my way down from it. I'm pressing fairly hard with the pencil. I do like the pencil marks to show up at the end of the painting. Just sort of measuring as I go. His back was sort of aligned with his eyes there, and his stomach aligns with the middle of his legs, so I just sort of found my way, kept measuring with the pencil and with my eyes. One of the reasons why I picked this painting is because his little leg is up off the ground at the back there, and the shadow is separate from his leg. I thought that was adorable, so I thought it'd be a good painting. And now I've got the mat back on it, drawing in the background, just sort of finding how it's going to turn out in the end. So I do start with my darkest darks. This is burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. And I know a lot of watercolor artists like to work light to dark, but I find if I do that, I never get the painting dark enough. So I like to put some darks on, just so I sort of know where I am. And I also started with his ears, instead of starting with his eyes and nose, just to sort of warm up and get into it. The light side of the sunny side of his body is all sort of warm yellow ochre. And the shadow side, I'm using yellow ochre and burnt sienna. And I'm just dropping in the colors, dropping in cerulean and cobalt blue, cobalt violet actually. Just sort of finding my way. The painting is on an easel. It's about 40-degree angle. So I find if I just sort of drop in warm and cool colors on the shadow side, that sort of works for me. And then in the tail, Yorkshire Terriers often have this sort of beautiful gray color. And so I didn't add any yellow ochre to it. I just sort of kept that area cool. Sort of pushing the paint back up into the water. Often at the base of the shadows, I like to make them really dark blobs, and then I sort of pull the painting into the shadow area. Those dark blobs are Prussian blue and permanent rose. A little bit of purpley color. And then I continued with the cobalt violet, the cerulean, and the yellow ochre. I sort of like to splatter. I splattered this yellow ochre into the shadow color. Sort of makes sort of a sunlight kind of look in it. And back to his eyes and nose, and just sort of trying to find where I am, trying to do the details of his face. I started doing the details of his face there, and I thought that maybe I would get too much caught up in the detail, and it was too soon for that. So I thought I'd better do the background first. Backgrounds can be a little bit difficult with watercolor. And I think if I leave it to the end, that's always a mistake. You sort of have to work it as you go, work the whole painting. That background color is Prussian blue and Aurelian. The Aurelian is very much like cadmium yellow, except it's transparent. I don't actually recommend it. It's a really difficult color to work with. And then burnt umber and ultramarine blue in the earth there. Trying to do the background as quick as I can before it dries. And dropping some more roses in. That's cadmium red. I'm just sort of trying to hit the whites there so it doesn't bleed too much. And that's one of my favorite things to do. The bead of water and pigment on the garden earth kind of built up there. So I just took a wet brush and ran across the bottom of it and let it all wash down into the painting. It makes for a nice soft background. I do try to get the value right the first time painting, but sometimes it just doesn't end up dark enough. So I went in here on his shadow side again, and with the cerulean blue, the cobalt violet, and the yellow ochre, did another value of it. The watercolor painting, often it dries a full value lighter than you think it's going to. And then I put a little collar on him. He didn't have one in the photo, but I thought I could bring the red of the flowers into him. Thought he needed a home. So that's it. I added some calligraphy a little bit for his fur, and I signed it. And usually after I sign it, I say, that's it. Don't overwork it. You signed it. It's done. But I couldn't help myself, and I added some opera pink splatters. Sometimes with splatters, they can look a little bit polka dot. So they can be overdone. So I think I did sort of wipe some of them down and sort of be selective with them. Anyway, that's it. There's the Yorkshire Terrier. I decided to name him Biscuit because he looks like a little cookie. And I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was entertaining and informative. And happy painting.